Hello there, my name is Nicole Thomas, and we are going to talk about what this evaluation document looks like that we go over every time we evaluate a K-12 program. It's called a 5-year site visit evaluation because typically every program gets visited once every 5 years. Occasionally it might be fewer than that, and the way that that is determined all centers around when the tech centers are accredited. So this is the first page of the document. It's standard 1. It's all about leadership and your administration. So what I want to point out is that whenever you see something that is highlighted in yellow, that means that it's something that your specialist will find for you. You do not have to try to find your career tech contract that your superintendent signed. Those get sent back to our office and are housed at the agency, and we can go through the files and find that information for you. So anything that's in yellow is typically something that you don't need to provide. Standard 2 is on 2 separate pages because Standard 2 houses instructional things for your classroom that every teacher across America does anyway, but then it also encompasses TSA. So that's why it covers 2 pages. You will see throughout the slideshow what all these different things mean. I'm just trying to really highlight that the STEM specialists will document your class schedule, and they will document how you affiliate with TSA or HOSA or skills. On this one, this isn't something you can really give us examples of because we don't need to have any kind of IEP reports or student names. It's just a discussion that we want to have with you on site about in your specific classroom with the things that you do. How do you differentiate instruction when you maybe have kids that have IEPs or that have instructional helpers that come with them, or even that have different learning styles? Are there some projects you do that you present differently because you know that your classroom has a couple of different learning styles that will meet the needs of those kiddos? So that is that page. Here again, you'll see some highlighted things. The STEM specialist will document. If you've attended fall leadership and state leadership, we keep those records so you don't have to come up with old receipts or pictures or anything like that. We will document your program of work if you've been sending it in annually. If you have not been doing that, then you'll need to fill one out for the year and submit it. We also want to know that you have been having regular meetings with your CTSO. That can be different for every school. It can be a once a week meeting. It can be a once a month meeting. It can happen before school, after school, and at lunch. Every school district is completely different in how they handle their CTSO meetings. And so that we just want to know what it looks like for you. You don't get bonus points if you meet twice a week and another school only meets once a month. It really has to do with, we just want to know, are you meeting with your kids regularly? Are they getting those leadership skills? Are they working on their projects and their tasks for state competition? It's those kinds of things that we're looking for. With Standard 3, it's all about support services and career development. So we will document your enrollment because we get that off of the reports that you send in. We don't want you duplicating work for sure. So we go in and look for all of those things. We like you to have a program of study. That can sound a little bit intimidating, but really it's just a list of courses from 6th to 12th grade that your district might provide with STEM. And that can go all the way through to the tech center that your students might attend if they have any STEM options there. It's just for the sake not only of making sure that you've got that in line for your ICAP now that the State Department of Ed is requiring that, but this is something Career Tech's done for decades. We just want to know if a kid takes your class and they love it and they want more of it, we just want them to be able to look at a document that lets them know, okay, well, I took this in 10th grade, so my STEM options for 11th and 12th grade are this, this, or this. So that's really all that is. Usually it's a one-time created document. Occasionally you might add to it if your school adds another class to their rotation or something like that. And then we want to know how you address careers within your curriculum, because we are career tech. So we want our students to know what options are available for them if they are loving your classes. And we know that not all STEM careers require a college education, so there might be training at their tech centers that they can get, and it's that kind of information that's going to save a student time and money to just know what's available. Standard 4 is all about measurement and analysis. Basically, it's data. So your STEM specialist will be grabbing your career tech reports, your 412 reports. If you have not been sending 412 reports in annually, you might have to contact your district financial person, but usually they can just email them right to you, and you can either forward them to us or drop them into CTU. And then if you're a high school program only and you are teaching AP classes, or you are teaching a curriculum, PLTW has end of instruction tests, or if you have given your kids a class and they're able to earn an industry certification for it, then those are the kinds of documentations that we're looking for. So, a list of scores, the students' names, it can be a screenshot. It doesn't have to be anything very high and mighty. We just want to be able to follow up with what kids are doing, as well as did they pass their EOI? Did they make a passing grade on an AP test? Did they earn the certification? It's those kind of things that we're looking for. And then for Standard 5 is all about you, and you just brag about it. We want you to upload a JPEG picture of your teaching certificate. And then when it says professional development, make sure you're only listing STEM professional development. We don't care about things like bloodborne pathogens that you have to sit through every year, or if your district has PLCs that relate to education, but it's not specifically related to STEM. We don't need that kind of information. We're really just trying to concentrate on STEM because that's what our division is. And then the last standard is your operations within your program. So the things that are highlighted that say observed are things that we look at when we come to see you, that you don't have to drop and provide. The advisory committee and the industry involvement, those are addressed on the slide that talks about Standard 6 and what we're looking for in there. It does say right here in parentheses that pictures are great, because I would much rather look at pictures of students, or even videos of students doing projects, building things, guest speakers coming in, community service, than read through paragraphs explaining those things. And I'm sure you'd rather just drop a picture than have to tell us about it anyway. I would encourage you to label the picture with what it is when you're saving it into CTU. So if it was community service and you were at a nursing home, you might just say community service nursing home, and maybe a verb that describes what you were doing, grounds cleanup or something like that. But that way we can look at the picture and see the kiddos working, and then we can all look at the title and know what it was specific to. And then this last page is what we look at. We check these boxes off as we go through your classroom and your lab. Not every box gets checked for every program. For example, if you don't have machinery in your program, then we're not going to be looking for safety guards, and we're not going to be looking for safety lanes. If you have a fire extinguisher but not a blanket, that's fine. Some places, if they are in a lab that has like a science lab, and their program does a lot with beakers and fire and stuff, then we might want them to have a fire blanket. But something that is completely true of every program is that we want it to be clean and orderly. We're always looking for that. We want to see proper storage of supplies. We want your kids to have eye protection. If you have machinery, you have to have a cutoff valve as well as the safety guard on the machines. But safety signage is something that everyone should have, and it can even be basic lab signs like no running. It's that type of thing. If you don't have machines, again, you won't have the safety lanes. Every program should have one of these 2 fire safety things. We do look at frayed power cords, not just on hand tools, but we look for surge protectors, how many things are plugged into each of those, which kind of goes with proper electrical supply. So we do kind of look at that just for the safety of the kiddos. And then SDS sheets are something every program has to have. And if you're a science teacher, you're familiar with what those are. And if you're not, they just say for anything that has any type of chemical in it, if a student happened to get it in their eye, or they happened to get it in their mouth, or if they ingested something, the steps to take to proceed to keep them safe so that they're not harmed. And then the eyewash stations really only specific to programs that are using power tools or chemicals. So again, like it says down here at the bottom, not every box is applicable to every program. So if we go through and we check and you get your document back and there's a box not checked, don't be alarmed. That doesn't mean that you failed something. That just means that maybe it wasn't applicable to your program. As far as the SDS sheets, you can just Google. So for example, it says Google substance SDS sheets. So let's say you had a bottle of Germex on your desk. You could Google Germex SDS sheets and it would pop right up. You print it off, you put it in a binder. You keep the binder somewhere in your classroom where your kids can see it. And it's always good to tell the kids what it's for and include some questions on your classroom safety test about where's it located and why do we need it and those types of things. Industry is very big on any place that you would go to a lab. There's always an SDS sheet, and it just gets them familiar with what that is so that if they get out and do take a job in a place where a lab is part of their daily scenario, they'll kind of know what that is. And then the last thing, after we go through everything and we're wrapping up our evaluation, we usually just ask you these questions at the very end to see, excuse me, I have the hiccups now, right at the end of the recording, of course. But we ask you these questions to see if there are best practices you would be willing to share with others, whether that would be at a continuing teacher academy or possibly at our August summit that we have every year. We want to know challenges that you face in your program because those might be challenges that another school has faced and they've come up with some kind of solution that we could maybe share with you. We will always want to know what we can do to better help you because our office is always about continuous improvement. Are there things that you went through during this evaluation process that you thought, well, I wish you'd given me more direction here. I wish I had understood this on a different level, those types of things. And then what are you an expert about? If I have a teacher reach out to me and say, I inherited a bunch of CNC machines from my ag department and I'd love to incorporate them into my program, but I don't know how to use them, then maybe I know that you're an expert on CNC machines and I can give that teacher your contact information. So we just try to make sure that we are always networking our teachers throughout the state so that they can help one another. There's usually always a teacher close to your district in career tech that's always willing to reach out and help. So that basically covers the document that we're going to go over when we start looking through your documentation. You know exactly what we're looking for. And if you have any questions, like we said, please just reach out to your specialist because we are always happy to help you.